neither of them what they're going to do to prevent nuclearization in the Middle East and nuclearization in the Korean Peninsula, and how we're going to defend the United States from that.
Well, when all is said and done and this is over, whoever is in the White House is going to have some very heavy issues
really
to deal with.
Absolutely.
And all really important and incredible in many ways. KT, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thanks, Martha.
And on that very question, Martha, who has the right resume to be the next commander?
He hasn't spent his whole life to be up on a debate stage like a career politician. He spent his life creating jobs, building things, doing things that would benefit American workers in this country. He's done that for his whole career. Imagine if he was doing this for his whole life, he'd be the greatest politician in the history of the world. Okay? He's learning as he goes because he's a real American. Unlike Hillary Clinton, who's gotten very rich being a politician, peddling American influence, he hasn't. This is only a step down.
Donald Trump Jr. there in the spin room. Martha, he came in there hot last night, right after that debate. And he and his brother Eric had the same message about keeping the media honest throughout the remaining 19 days. And that was what that comment was all about with regard to the election. Mike Pence, too, had some comments about Chris Wallace. I'll share that with you a bit later this morning here from Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, the Trump sons have been such forceful advocates for their father, and they speak very well for him. You wonder, what it's going to be like for them when this is over, one way or the other. But they've definitely put themselves on the political map, and it's been fascinating to watch.
He was asked about that last night. He said, tonight's not about me. I think he was expecting that question from some.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll see. Good stuff. Very interesting from the spin room last night. And speaking of the issue of experience, while Hillary Clinton says that she has it, Donald Trump says that her experience hasn't served her well in the choices that she's made as a politician. Watch this. All right. So what do you think about that? Doug Schoen, Fox News contributor and former advisor to President Bill Clinton, and Matt Schlapp, former White House political director to President George W. Bush and chairman of the American Conservative Union. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Great to have you here.
To be here.
That was a pretty good line, Matt, from Hillary Clinton last night.
Yeah, I think debate was by far and away his best debate performance. I do think Hillary Clinton was ready. She's always ready. She studies up. She has her lines ready. But I think every time we're talking about her foreign policy, the Obama foreign policy, I actually think in the end that's good for us. I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of voters don't want to vote for her, because I think they think we have failed in the issue of radical Islamic terror.
One of the things, Doug, that he really needed to do last night, Donald Trump, was to expand his base and to make people who got wobbly on him come back home. Did he accomplish that?
I think he got part of that done, Martha. I think those who might have gotten wobbly, I think this would have reassured his base. Did he expand his constituency? I don't really think so. And beyond that, with the distraction of his potentially not accepting the results of the election, it created another distraction that's going to make it harder and harder for him to catch up.
Yeah. How much of a problem was that statement, Matt?
Well, I thought it was interesting. I think the winner last night was Chris Wallace. He did a great job as a moderator, which is
no
almost an
argument
impossible role. No argument there for sure. And look, I think it was good that he pushed Donald Trump. I think it's a legitimate question. I do think it's unfortunate that Hillary Clinton didn't answer the question as well. I think they both should have answered that question.
She did, Matt, on the plane. She said
well, I don't think that's right. I will quibble with that.
No, she did on the plane. That's
the other
what
thing.
happened.
I will quibble with that. The other thing is I think it was unfortunate that the Clintons negotiated a no handshake. I think this is getting awfully petty.
I agree.
They should be able to shake hands, look each other in the eye. I think we'll get through this election, and I think each candidate will support the other. But the nation is very divided, and that's not going to be solved if Hillary Clinton were to win by the campaign she's run, which is dang near issueless.
When you look at that, those couple of things, I think they're really good points, Matt. The handshake moment, it's too bad. Right, Doug?
It is.
I mean, you look at this process and you say, I was looking at pictures, tonight's the Al Smith dinner in New York, of Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, sort of kind of a half embrace that they did when they walked into that dinner.
Sure.
They never had problems shaking hands. It just goes to the really divisive place that the nation is in right now over all of this.
Well, look, I would agree with Matt and you that if there was a real standout performer, it was Chris Wallace. But the real loser last night to me were the American people, because the divisiveness, Martha, that you speak of only weakens us as a nation, because politics is not a blood sport. We don't go forward as Democrats and Republicans. We have very real problems, many of which were talked about: nuclear weapons, Russia, Syria, and we can't take them on if we're divided. We'll all lose.
You know, when you look at that moment, what he's inspired in the nation is this sort of pushback, Matt, in terms of the election and accepting the results of the election. You know, I think there is an argument that you could make that you have to always push back on the electoral process to a certain extent. Now, we all understand that you accept the final result, but we've seen a lot of elections in this country, whether they're state or federal, where it's like, wait a minute, you know, I want to look at that county again. I want to look at that part again. And then after that process, everybody moves forward. But if we don't keep nudging back against that system and keeping it pure all the time, it will disappear.
Look, Fox News has done a great job of reporting on these videos that have been released where the allies to the Clinton campaign are out there trying to wreak havoc out there in the electorate. And I think it's shameful and it ought to be criticized. And I think every person should vote. Don't listen when people in the media tell you this race is over. There's a new poll that shows Donald Trump's up 3. The poll that was the most accurate 4 years ago shows that Clinton is only up 2. This is going to be a tight race at the end of the day. Everybody should vote. And let me tell you, I spent a month in Florida in the 2000 recount. Why do you think we all of us from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and I was working for the Bush campaign, why did we go to Florida? Because it was close and every vote mattered, and we all know there's subjectivity in elections. And the key is that as Americans, let's have transparency and let's make sure that the results have integrity. And that starts with all of us voting, all of us getting engaged, because the issues are important.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Great to see you as always.
Thank you.
Bill?
So, Martha, did the head of the DNC leak questions from before a town hall on behalf of CNN? She answered that question last night with Megyn. And what does she have to say about Democratic operatives talking about inciting violence at Trump rallies, especially the one in Chicago a short time ago? And Hillary Clinton, Hodge, communications director for the Democratic National Committee, with me here in Las Vegas. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
She talked about the furtherance of American interests. Was that the case?
Yes, I think you look at the work of the Clinton Foundation. I'll take that work any day of the week and twice on Sunday compared to the Trump Foundation. Look, they've done incredible work. They got an A rating from one of the charity watchdogs. They've given away 89% of the money, and the only foundation in this campaign that has been under investigation for any sort of improprieties or a quid pro quo is Trump's foundation.
And she tried to turn that back on him last night. There is no denying that people have been helped through the work of the Clinton Foundation. However, what Republicans will argue consistently is that if you're allowing Russian companies to get the contracts to mine for uranium, how does that further American interests?
Well, you want to talk about Russia and furthering American interests. I mean, you know, throughout this campaign, Donald Trump has been cozying up to Putin. He still refuses to accept and acknowledge that Russia is behind the hack all the intelligence agencies have found is trying to undermine our democracy and interfere in our elections. Don't talk about Russia. Trump's got real problems.
But the question was about uranium. This could be a national security interest.
I think the national security interest in this campaign is the fact that the Republican nominee for president is cozying up to Vladimir Putin, is encouraging them to hack into the DNC, into the Clinton campaign. This should offend all Americans. Look, I don't agree with Marco Rubio on a lot, but you look at what he said yesterday.
No, I heard what he said. But
exactly.
Back to the question about what Wallace said. Did she keep her pledge?
Yeah, no, I think you look at what she was talking about with the Clinton Foundation. Look, the work has been remarkable. It has done, and there has been no evidence found that there was any quid pro quo with the Clinton Foundation. And look, the Trump Foundation is under investigation for the quid pro quo with the Attorney General. Florida now he doesn't put any money, any of his own money into the foundation, and he's been using it to buy Tim Tebow helmets and self-portraits. Well, I mean, want to talk about foundations? I will take the Clinton Foundation.
There was another question about her comment about common markets, open borders, etc., and she said that speech was about energy.
Yeah, well, look, if you look at what we have on the border with Mexico, we have energy crisscrossing both sides. We want to have I
get it, but that's not the way it was interpreted.
No, but that's what
she was talking about. It looked like she was caught red-handed.
No, Bill.
Talking about things that she has defied and tried to suggest that whether it's TPP or fair trade agreements? Something that was red hot during the Democratic primary.
No, look, she's been very clear that we need to have comprehensive immigration reform, and that's what she was talking about throughout this campaign. But look, the only reason why this is even coming out right now is because Russia has hacked the Clinton Foundation.
I get it. I understand the concern, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. Last question. Did the Clinton team negotiate to not shake Donald Trump's hand?
Look, I'm not sure what the negotiations were behind the scenes with with their team. But look, one thing I will say, we had a great night last night. Hillary Clinton had her best performance of the debate, and again, she laid out her vision. She laid out the solutions that she has for, and that's what we're going to continue carrying on in the final days of this campaign.
Nice to see you in Las Vegas.
Pleasure.
See you in the East Coast.
Yeah.
Adam Hodge, thank you from the DNC. Thanks for coming up here.
Pleasure.
Now.
Byron York, chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner and a Fox News contributor. Byron, good morning to you.
Good morning, Martha.
Good morning. We talked so much yesterday about the stakes that were there last night, and now they each have to take what they did last night and try to build on that today. That's been something Donald Trump's had trouble doing after the last couple of debates. Do you think he will do it this time?
Well, he's certainly going to try. They're going to go to these states that we all know about. They're going to Ohio, they're going to Pennsylvania, they're going to North Carolina, try to make this case. I watched the debate last night with a focus group, a group of uncommitted Nevada voters, much different atmosphere than watching it amongst the national press. And what some of their reactions, I think, gave us clues to what would work for Trump in the future. When he talked about securing the border, they had little dials that indicated their approval. Well, the dials just shot up off the scale. When he talked about jobs, when he attacked NAFTA, the dials just went off the scale. Really, really good reception for Trump's economic message. Also, his criticism of Hillary Clinton, saying she hadn't gotten anything done in 30 years. That was very effective. So, if Trump is listening to that sort of reaction, I think that's what he'll emphasize in the next few days.
We're going to get some new polls in the next few days that I think will really show us whether or not he has any shot at this, Byron.
Well, he has a really, really uphill battle. I think, we were talking yesterday about the deficit that he has in the polls, over 7 points now in the Real Clear Politics average of polls. I went back and looked at the most volatile portion of the race. There was a time between June and July that he rose 7 points in the polls, but it took him 40 days to do it. Now it's 19 days left in this race. Really, really tough.
Yeah, he'd have to put it on fast forward. Bill is over there on the 27th floor balcony once again this morning. Bill?
Sun's coming up. Byron, you talk about that focus group. I saw one late last night on CNN. It seemed to me their group of folks scored at a tie, so a bit of a draw. And you were with the focus group. And how did they score it last night? Was the edge given to one or the other?
It was almost exactly the same. There were 26 people. 14 said that Trump won. 12 said that Clinton won. And of course, the thing is that what the press took away as the bombshell of the night, which is Trump's remarks on accepting the results of the election, was not really a bombshell with them. It's not that everybody just looked up and went, wow. What their reaction was, some tried to defend Trump on it, but most of them were actually, they were critical, they were opposed, but they were kind of puzzled. They said, why didn't he just say yes? And I think this is the one thing that Trump is going to have to clean up. Bill, you had Jason.
Did they think that was a big deal or not?
They did think it was a big deal because they did say, our system is the winner wins, and, you support the winner. They probably knew that in the first debate, Trump had actually answered that question before and said he would support Hillary Clinton. So we're in a situation where Trump is going to have to go out and explain. Bill, you had Jason Miller from the Trump campaign on in the earlier hour, and he spent time explaining. So all the time spent explaining is not talking about jobs and trade and immigration.
We'll see how much they can grab control of that today. And both of them, as we say, back out on the trail in those battleground states. Byron, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you, Martha.
Now 6 minutes past. Want to move to another big topic. Chris Wallace pressing both on the issue of immigration and what it would look like under their
reform plan, of course, includes border security.